Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'll be showing you how to make this beautiful asymmetric collar dress with a detachable underbust corset. If this looks like what you want to learn how to make, them please keep watching and let's get started. To begin, we'll be starting with the front pattern, and these are the tools I'll be needing: my pattern master, my paper, scissors, marker and tape. So this paper is folded into two, as you can see. I'll just go ahead to rule a straight line at the top of the paper like so. This is going to serve as our starting line, or say the guideline. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to mark the shoulder to bust point, shoulder to underbust, and then the shoulder to the waist. And the shoulder to bust point for this is 9.5 inches. Shoulder to underbust is 12 inches, and the shoulder to the waist I used 15 inches. I just came down by 3 inches from the underbust, which is 15 inches. So I'll just go ahead to confirm the measurements on the other side as well, and then I'll use my rule to connect the points. So after that, the next thing I'm going to do is to take the shoulder measurement, which is 14 divided by 2 is 7. I'll mark that down like so, and then I'll come down from that point by 1 inch, and then I'm going to mark 3 inches for my neck width. That's a standard measurement. I'll just mark 3 inches, and then I'll go ahead to connect the slope using my rule. After that, I'll come down from that point by 7 inches. That's going to be the armhole for this project. I'm using 7 inches. I'll just go ahead to connect that point. Okay, I'll just go ahead to connect it, and then I'll also extend the line, and this is going to serve as our chest line. So guys, you need to bear in mind that the armhole measurement depends on the measurements you're working with. Okay, so for my client, her armhole measurement is 7, so I'm using 7. So it depends on what you're working with. So I went ahead to label the line to chest line, bust points, underbust and waistline, and then I'm just going to mark what I have on my armhole line, which is 7 inches. I'll divide it by 2, which is 3.5. I'll just mark that down, and then I'll go in on that point by half of an inch, and then I'm going to measure my bust measurement. The bust measurement I'm working with divided by 4, which is 32 divided by 4 is 8. I'll mark that down, and then I'm just going to use my pattern master to connect it like so. So guys, after that, the next thing I'm going to do is to measure the nipple to nipple measurement, and the nipple to nipple measurement I'm working with is 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. I mark that down, and then I'll just go ahead to connect it like so with a straight line. And then after that, I'm just going to measure what I have on my armhole line. As you can see, I have about 7.5 inches. I divided that by 2 to get 3.75. I'll just go ahead to mark that 3.75 on the line. Okay, just follow what I'm doing. I'll just go ahead to mark it on that line like so, and then I will connect it to the bust point. You can also go up from the bust point by ½ inch before you connect that to that point. Okay, but me, I'll just connect it straight to the bust point using my rule. So after that, I'll go up by ½ of an inch and down by ½ of an inch like so, and then I'll also go ahead to connect that to the bust point. So after connecting, I'll just go ahead to measure my dart. Remember, we took ½ inch up and ½ inch down, that's 1 inch. I'll just replace that on the chest line, as you can see, and then I'll go up by 1 inch as well on this side piece, and then I'll just connect it like so. Okay, with a slant line, I'll just connect it like so, and then I'll just go ahead to connect my new armhole. So after that, I'll just go ahead to take my dart, and on the center side of the dart I took ½ an inch. So I'll do that on the waistline and on the underbust, and then on the side part of the dart I took 1 inch. So if you have a bigger bust size, or you're working with a bigger bust size, you can go in on the side by 1.5 inches. It's also fine. The next thing I'm going to do now is to connect that to the bust point, okay? But then this time around, I'm not going to make it curved, like very curved, because we're not going to be padding this. So I'll just go ahead to connect that like so, and then I'll also blend it in, okay? I'll use my hand, like free hand, to blend it. I don't want it to be too curvy. And then on the side piece, I'll also go ahead to connect it to the bust point as well. So guys, after connecting to the bust point, if you want, you can go ahead to connect like so, okay? But I won't be doing that. I just want mine to have that like curve. But if you want, you can just connect it from the waistline into the bust point, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do now is to come down by 3 inches for the neck depth. We are still going to alter this in the course of the video. We are still going to alter the neckline, but for now we'll be using the 3 inches standard neck width and neck depth. So guys, our princess dart pattern is almost ready. The next thing I'm just going to do is to take the body measurement, and for the waist I'm working with, it's 26 inches divided by 4 is 6.5. I marked that, and then I replaced the dart on the waistline 1.5 inches, and then I connected it to the chest line like so. So just go ahead to add my sewing allowance. I'm using 1.5 inches. I'll just use my rule to connect that as well. So guys, that's all for the princess dart pattern. The next thing we are going to do is to work on the neckline. Remember, this dress has an asymmetric neckline, so we're going to be working on that. And then you remember this pattern is on fold. So I actually went ahead to extend my lines and my measurements and all. You don't need to do that, okay? You can just go ahead to cut. So just watch how I'll be cutting this on fold. So guys, this is how it looks after cutting out. I did not cut the neckline, okay, because I'll be working on that soon. So this is how it looks. Remember that I extended my lines, okay? So yours might not look the same. You don't need to extend your lines, but if you open it up, it's going to look this way. Mine just has lines on all the patterns because I actually went ahead to extend it. So guys, this is how it looks. The next thing we're going to do now is to alter the neckline, okay? So guys, this is the left part, okay? This is the left part of our pattern, and this is where our sleeve is going to be. So just watch how I'm going to alter this. I'm just going to come down by 5 inches from that point. You can go like deeper, you can do 6 inches. It depends on the measurement you are working with, okay, and how you want yours to be. For me, I used 5 inches because I'm working with a small size. And then I came down, I just extended the line, okay? Just extend the line like so, using your rule. So guys, after extending the line, I'm going to go in by 3 inches from the armhole, okay? That's from that line on the armhole. I'll go in by 3 inches, and I'm just going to mark that like so. And then on the shoulder line, like on the shoulder, that's on the neckline, I'm going to go in by 0.75 inches on that point like so. And then I'm just going to connect that with the curve to meet the 3 inches, okay? I did ½ inch initially, but I wanted it to be wider, so I went in by 0.75. I'll just go ahead to connect that to the 3 inches, okay? So I'm just going to make a nice curve using my free hand. I'll just curve it to the 0.75 inches like so. Okay, and then we are done with this part. We are also going to go in on the other part as well, or I would say go out by 0.75 inches, and then we are going to connect that. I'll be using my free hand as well. just carefully connect that to the other part of the new neckline we created. So guys, after connecting the neckline like so, the next thing I'm going to do is to go in on the right side of this front pattern by half of an inch. So on the right side of the shoulder, I'll be going in by half an inch. On the center front, I have about 4.5 inches is depth for the neckline, which is just perfect for me. Then on the side, I'll be going in by half of an inch, as you can see, and then I'll just connect that like so. That's because that part is going to be sleeveless, so you can decide to go in by half inch or 1 inch if you want, but I decided to do half inch on that part. So if you'll be adding 2 sleeves to yours, you don't have to go in on the right part, okay? But for this, the right part is going to be sleeveless and the left part is going to have a sleeve. So guys, this is how it looks after cutting. We are still going to cut this, okay? We are not yet done. It's going to have a yoke, so we are still going to cut out one part for the yoke. So if you have watched this video this far, please don't forget to subscribe and also give this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful. So I'm gonna head to cut out the half inch I went in by on the right part of the shoulder, and this is how it looks. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to cut this part, okay? This is going to be a yoke. It's going to be like a yoke. So I'm going to head to cut it. You can just use your tape to hold it down or use your pins to hold it down. So guys, this is all for the front piece. This is the two side front, center front, and then our yoke. So the next thing we are going to do now is to proceed to cut these pieces on our fabric. So guys, this is the fabric I'll be using. I'm using a high quality crepe fabric, okay? So if you want to do yours, make sure you use a very good quality crepe fabric for yours. So this is measuring about 4.5 yards, and I'll just go ahead to first of all cut the lower part. You are advised to cut the lower part first so you don't have to join it. So I'll just go ahead to cut the subtract my half length. I want the length of the gown to be about 15 inches. I subtracted the half length of 15 inches from that, and then I measured, and then I cut all the straight long piece of the 4 yards. That's like 36 inches times 4. So that's how long my waist piece is going to be. Then I'll just go ahead to gather it at the end. So guys, I'll just go ahead to cut my yoke first, and for my yoke I'll be cutting 2 pieces of this part. I just went ahead to add half inch on the lower part and half inch on the center of the neck, and then on the side and the upper part I did not add any allowance. You can decide to add half inch on your shoulder as well, depends on the measurements you are working with. So I've gone ahead to also cut the front pieces, as you can see. So I added half inch on the top of the center front, as you can see. I added half inch on this side, half inch on this side, and half inch on the lower part for joining the top to the lower part. I did not add on the shoulder, okay? Like I said, it depends on the measurements you are working with. So guys, for the yoke I also added half inch on this side, and on the lower part I did not add on the top part like I said before. And then on the side piece I added half inch on this side, half inch on the lower part. I did not add on this side, and then I added on the upper part of the side piece as well for joining the yoke. And then for this other side piece I added half inch on this side, half inch and half inch on the lower part. And then on the side of the armhole of this left piece I went up by half of an inch because it's going to be sleeveless, so it has to be covered a bit on that part. But on the right side I did not add any allowance on the armhole at all. So guys, the next thing I'm going to do now is set this aside, and then we're just going to go ahead to cut the back piece. So guys, before we cut the back piece, we are going to proceed to cut our collar, okay? And for the collar, I'll be using these two patterns, just join it together like so. You can decide to hold it down with your tape, okay? So just bring my fabric and fold it into two, because I'll be cutting the two pieces at once. So I'll just fold my fabric into two, and then I'll just go ahead to place this pattern on it, and then I'll just use my chalk to trace it out, and then I'm just going to cut. So just place it carefully like so, and then use your chalk to trace it. Make sure you have enough fabric, okay? When you are doing this, make sure you have enough fabric, and then make sure you place it well as well. So I'm just going to place it, and then I'll just use my chalk to trace the neckline. So just watch carefully to see how I do this. So guys, this is how I'm going to do it. On the shoulder as well, I'm going to trace the shoulder, and then I'm going to trace on the armhole as well, like so. So after that, I'll just take out my pattern paper, and then I'll come down by 2.5 inches on these points, okay? And then I'll just go ahead to introduce my side piece again to confirm where my collar will stop. So it's going to stop on that point because we have an allowance. So it's going to stop on that point. So I'll just curve it like so. And then I'm going to mark 2.5 inches, 2.5 inches. And then when I get to the top part of the shoulder, I'll mark 2 inches for it. So guys, you can decide to make yours wider, okay? It depends on what you're trying to achieve. For me, I wanted mine to be a bit smaller, so I used 2.5 inches, and then I used 2 inches for the shoulder part. So I'm just going to add half-inch allowance on the top part. This half-inch, we're going to be using it to join the collar to the neckline of the dress. So guys, after all that, we have 3 inches here and we have 2.5 inches on the top part. That's because we added a half-inch allowance for the joining of the neck of the collar to the neck of the dress. I don't know if you get, like, for joining of the collar to our main dress, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do is to fold my fabric again into two. This time around, I'm going to be cutting the back of this dress. So I'm just going to go ahead to rule a straight line. This line is going to serve as my starting line or my guideline. I'll go ahead to mark 2 inches for zipper allowance, okay? I just mark that on the top part and on the lower part as well. So for this piece, it's going to be measuring 15.5 inches, okay? Remember, we cut 15 inches on our pattern, and then we added half-inch while cutting on the fabric. So for the back piece, I'll just go ahead to mark the 15.5 inches, and then I'm just going to connect that with a straight line like so. And then I'll go ahead to extend my zipper allowance line. So these 2 inches is for the zipper allowance. So just go ahead to connect it with a straight line like so. And then I'll mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2. I use 7, so I'm just going to mark 7 there. And then I'm just going to come down by 1 inch on that point to create my shoulder slope, and then my armhole measurement, which is 7 inches. I already went ahead to mark that down. So if you've been following this channel, cutting this back piece is going to be very easy for you, because we do this a lot on the channel. So I'm just going to mark 3 inches for my neck width, and then I'll just go ahead to connect it with a slope like so, and then extend, or I'd say connect, the armhole line. So I'm just going to connect it like so as well. And then the next thing I'm going to do is to take my bust measurement divided by 4. 32 by 4 is 8. I marked that down. And then I created my armhole, and then I added my 1.5 inches for sewing allowance. So guys, what happened was that I actually lost the clip where I cut the back piece, but I'm going to be explaining how I did that. So for the back neck width, I ended up using 3.25 inches, okay, so that it matches with that of the front. Remember how we had altered the front neckline, so I had to make sure that I used what is going to match with the front neckline. And then I took my darts for the back piece, and then I went ahead to come down by 1 inch on the chest line to like create my dart. I took half inch on both sides of my dart, and then I connected that to the 1 inch I came down by on the armhole, and then I went ahead to take my waist measurement divided by 4, and then I added the dart, which is 1 inch, and then I added my 1.5 inches sewing allowance. So on the zipper allowance, I went in on the lower part by half of an inch and then connected that, and then I also went up by 1 inch and then slanted it into my waistline. Like I said, if you've been following this channel, you should already know how to draft a basic back pattern. And then for the neck depth of the back piece, I used 1.5 inches. So for the right side of the back, I maintained the normal armhole, but for the left side of the back, remember it's going to be sleeveless, I went up by half of an inch. And then for the left shoulder of the back as well, I went in by half of an inch, the same way we had done for the front. So guys, after that, I'll just go ahead to cut my facing for the back piece. But before I cut the facing for the back piece, I just go ahead to cut the sleeve. And like I said, if you've been following this channel, you should already know how to cut your sleeve. But for the sake of our newcomers, I'll just go ahead to explain what I did here. So I just marked, I came down by 5 inches, and then I measured on that point armhole divided by 2, which is 7. Then I added 1.5 inches to that. So just go ahead to connect a slant line to the top like so. So guys, I actually made a mistake, so I went ahead to confirm my measurements. Okay, so I just went ahead to connect like so, and then I'm going to measure that and then divide it by 2. Whatever I get, I'll divide by 2. Okay, then I'll go up by like 0.25 inches or half inch, and then I'll also come down by the same 0.25 or half inch and then connect it like so. After that, I'll just go ahead to measure the armhole, the sleeve length, and I used 10 inches. This 10 inches includes all my allowances. So I'll just go ahead to measure her round sleeve measurement. On that point, I used 6.5 inches there, and then I just went ahead to connect it. So whichever sleeve you're using, measurement you're using, make sure you add about 1 inch or so for ease. Okay, it doesn't have to be too tight on your client or on you. So guys, I'll just go ahead to cut this piece out. So guys, remember we need just one sleeve because we are only going to attach one sleeve. But if you are going to attach 2 sleeves to your dress, you can just go ahead to cut 2. Okay, I just cut 1, and then the next thing I'm going to cut is the underbust corset. And for the underbust corset, I'm just going to fold my fabric into 2, and then I'm just going to place my tape like so. That's 12 inches, which is the underbust, and then I am going to mark 15 inches, which is the waistline of my client, and then I'll go ahead to come down by 4 inches from the waistline, and then I'm going to mark 24 inches as the length of my corset. Okay, this is going to have a basque waistline, so I marked 24 inches, and then I'm just going to go ahead and measure her underbust divided by 4, and then I'm just going to mark that down, and then I'm just going to add 1 inch allowance. You can do half inch. Okay, 1 inch is even too much. I did 1 inch, but you can go ahead to do half inch. So on the waistline, I measured her waist measurement divided by 4 as well, and then I added 1 inch. And then on the hemline, I measured her hip measurement divided by 4, and then I added 1 inch, and then I connected it like so to the waistline. So now you're just going to create your basque shape. You can do any shape you want. Okay, I just did mine like with a slight curve. After that, you just go ahead, you just come down on the bust by 2 inches. That's on the center front. Came down by 2 inches. You can do 2.5, you can do 3 inches. Okay, it depends on what you're working with. So just go ahead and cut. So I'll be cutting 2 pieces for this, and then I'll be using this to trace out the back. So for the back piece, I'll just go ahead to place this on another fabric on fold, and then I'm just going to take out about 2 inches because this is going to have like a rope to tie at the back. So if you want, you can do 2 inches, 2.5. It depends on how wide you want the back to be, but I used 2 inches for mine. I just place it like so, and then I just went ahead to trace. But for the back, I want the back the top of the back to be straight, so I just went ahead to cut it like so. Just look closely to see what I'm doing. So just going to go ahead to trace the side, and then I'm going to stop on that point, and then I'll just connect with the straight line. I took the front piece out, and then I went ahead to cut it like this. So guys, this is our back piece. You can just go ahead to mark the top part so you don't get confused when you are sewing. I actually made a notch on mine. So guys, for this back we'll be needing 4 pieces. This is 2. I'll go ahead to cut another 2 to make it 4 pieces, and after that we are done with the cutting. If you have any questions, please do well to drop them in the comments. I'll attend to all your questions. So guys, this is me trying to cut the second part of the back piece. So guys, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful, and please don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't. We have other interesting tutorials coming up on the channel. Do well to join our family. So the next video I'm going to be dropping is going to be the sewing video, okay? Please don't forget to turn on the notification bell if you haven't, to get notified each time I post a new video. So guys, this is the outcome of our dress. Like I said, the next video is going to be the sewing video. So bye, see you in my next one.